What is a person to do when they're stuck with the lower libido person in the relationship? In this case, it's the wife. And I want to thank this person for leaving this amazing comment that is allowing me to make a whole video on it. This was on my video called How Husbands Coerce a Wife into Sex and How to Turn Your Sex Life Around. I'll pin it up here if you just want to watch it. And this is a comment from Kirk Killen. I like your content, but I believe this age-old problem is ultimately intractable for the lower libido person in the couple. And first I want to say I really agree with that. Some people just have a naturally lower libido than other people, and there's nothing you can do about it. But as we go on to read his question, I think I may have a solution to help him, and that's why I want to make this video. He goes on to say, I asked my wife many years ago what things I could do that would get her aroused. That's great. I love that. It's a very good idea. And after listing the things, she then gave the caveat that if I did those things for the purpose of getting her turned on, it would not work. She was not being devious or cruel, but honest about how her mind and body works. As a general rule, I believe men are transactional in how we approach life. So when we're given a situation whereby the rules and subsequent outcomes are not dependable, we will be frustrated. I think he's on the right track, and I think it's very helpful to have these kinds of discussions, like to find out what turns you on. That's how a couple makes their sex life better. So this is really, really a good example of a guy who's trying to improve his relationship. At the same time, I get what she's saying. So I'm going to fine tune his approach a little bit and say that if the man is only touching her to get a result, to get her turned on so he can get sex, that energy is going to make her feel more like an object, and it's not arousing. So the way to get the woman turned on is to be really present in the moment and to actually enjoy this moment, even if it doesn't lead to sex. So the answer I gave him, and I hope you guys can feel the difference in the vibe. The answer I gave him, I was very proud of myself because I'm really trying to help people here. I would recommend a no sex period where you enjoy touching her for its own pleasure rather than as a manipulation technique to get a result. She's picking up on your energy. Can you enjoy giving her pleasure and just be in the moment? Even if it doesn't lead to sex. See, that's the thing, because the moment you touch her, she's going to feel obligated. And I made a whole video about the obligation sex message. She knows you want sex, and now she feels obligated, and it's not erotic anymore. She feels the pressure. She feels that it's a manipulation. If you're doing these things to get her turned on, it's a manipulation. And I would suggest that you masturbate first and then do this so you can shift your energy so that she feels that you're actually interested in her, that you're delighting in her, and that you're not going to fall apart or get angry if at any moment she changes her mind. See, the woman has to feel that she's not obligated to have sex with you, that she wants it. And I'm not saying that a woman should be a tease, because I don't think that women do that, but they have to feel like they have autonomy over their body and that you're not going to fall apart, that you're not going to be like all impulsive and all needy and all impatient and all gropey, because we sense your energy and it can make our body respond to your energy. So it's not just her mind, it's her body responding. Now, it could be way off on this particular gentleman. He could just have a wife who has no libido at all, who has some kind of childhood trauma, sexual abuse, or religious shaming, and her body is just like, I don't want sex no matter what you do. So that's definitely a possibility. I'm not saying that I'm a know-it-all, but I have known men like this, and I was kind of married to a guy like that who only touched me when he wanted sex. He didn't give me any one-on-one attention, like look me in the eye, take me on interesting dates, or just not that much attention, didn't want to just be like intimate with me except when it would lead to sex. So that is what some men do. They're like, oh, I want to have sex with you to get connected, rather than finding other ways to connect to the woman. So I went on to say, can you enjoy touching and pleasing her without needing it to lead to sex? Read this over and over. So I'll read it over and over. Can you enjoy touching and pleasing her without needing it to lead to sex? So this has to be your internal energy. Can you enjoy touching and pleasing her without needing it to lead to sex? And for the women, I would say, can you enjoy making your husband a sandwich without needing him to give you money or buy you a gift? Can you enjoy ironing his shirt without needing him to buy you something or doing you a favor? Okay, so sometimes people's minds will say yes, but their body will say no. Our bodies really pick up on people's energies. But some women are so removed from what they need to be turned on, they may not even know. I really think that what works for a lot of women is that energy where you can enjoy doing something and you don't care if it leads to sex. So that's where you have to masturbate first. So you're not simping and you're not whining and you're not groveling. You're like, I'm sexually satisfied and I love touching my woman. I love her body. I like touching it. And it doesn't need to lead to sex. That's kind of the attitude you have to have, that you're like in so much control. And here are a couple things you can do to kind of get her a little bit revved up. Number one, you start telling her, look her in the eyes and tell her what you like about her. Tell her that she's beautiful. Just be present with her, okay? Without expecting anything. If she's doing the dishes, maybe come up to her, give her a kiss on the neck, walk away. You got to stop all this neediness stuff, if there's any there for any of you guys. Maybe just look her up and down, tell her she's hot, then walk away. Okay, just give her these little touches that are like erotic without needing it to be so needy. Give her a massage in a non-sexual area. Give her a foot massage, go to sleep. Give her a back rub, go to work. Do all kinds of like more erotic or non-erotic touch and attention and emotional attention and appreciation without needing something, for the sheer pleasure of connecting with her and appreciating her and seeing her as a person. If you can't do that, she's naturally not going to want sex with you, because then sex becomes something that you're trying to get and it's not erotic anymore. Now it feels like an obligation or like a duty, and her body's not going to be open. So you want to open her body, you got to open her heart, you know? You can't be so needy about it. And if you're the kind of guy that can just enjoy the woman and take it or leave it if she wants to have sex or not, she's going to start to want it more. Now, some of you are married to women who don't just have a low libido, they have no libido. And that's usually due to some kind of childhood trauma. I'm going to say it is always childhood trauma. Who doesn't like to be touched? You don't like to be touched? It's because touch is scary. It comes with certain obligations or duties or fears or trauma, some kind of trauma response, some kind of shutdown thing, or something is shut down. If you're married to someone like that, a man or a woman who was abused as a child, shamed as a child in some way, which is also abuse, is shut down emotionally, shut down sexually, you only have two options, in my opinion. One, insist that they go to therapy and work on it, or that you will leave. And option two, if they don't do it, you actually leave, because they're never going to change. You can't change them. You can't force them. And, a lot of us didn't know that we married someone with sexual trauma, and now we're stuck in this, we're supposed to be monogamous in this relationship, or we want to be affectionate with someone. We want to be affectionate. Maybe the guy who wrote this is doing nothing wrong. Maybe he gives her a lot of attention and she's just a shut down woman who is living through trauma that she hasn't wanted to address. And I'm going to blame the person who doesn't want to address their trauma. You're not responsible for the trauma that happened to you. If you were a child, you couldn't protect yourself. Some people as adults were taken advantage of. But you are responsible for not healing it. You are responsible for not healing it. And when you don't heal your trauma, you are perpetuating the pain to all the people that come in contact with you. You're perpetuating the pain onto your spouse. And if you're living with someone like that, you're just choosing to perpetuate your own pain. So in those cases, I think you should just see an escort, have an affair, get a divorce, because no one signed up to be in a sexless marriage with someone who is, frankly, I'm going to say cold and frigid and heartless, because they don't care that you are neglected. Because in a couple, sex is a way that people feel connected. Like, we want to touch. We want to be naked chest on chest. Like, it's a sensual, affectionate, satisfying thing, aside from the genital contact, just to be naked, touch on touch, skin on skin. That people need that, and healthy people want that. They want to share that with each other. And if you want to share that with your spouse and they're not interested, you're being neglected, and that's causing trauma to your body, because you're going to be resentful, you're going to be angry, you're going to feel rejected, you're going to feel sad. Why are you doing this to yourself? Just because this person is refusing to deal with their trauma. Maybe they're secretly gay. Maybe your wife is secretly gay, or your husband is secretly gay. So, these are all my ideas and tips. You can be just married to someone who is not trying to be honest with you about what's going on. And a lot of times people don't know why they don't want to have sex, because they're like, well, maybe you touch her in a way, you're rubbing her, the inner part of her pussy where it's dry and it hurts. And maybe you're doing things in bed that she doesn't like. If I were talking to this gentleman's wife, and I'm not picking on him because this is very common, I'm talking to everyone. I'm talking to all men that say your wife doesn't like sex. I would want to ask the wife, and all ladies who are listening, what is happening that you don't like? The first moment, I want to know that very first moment when your body says no and you're going forward, that very first moment. Is it because he's touching you physically when he has ignored you all week and hasn't talked to you? Is he too quick and gropey? Is it because if you don't say yes, he's going to pout, so you have to say yes? Is he touching you in a way that doesn't feel good? Because he doesn't know what he's doing, or he doesn't know what you like? Are you afraid to tell him to slow down or change something? Is he trying to touch you when the kids are around, or you're worried about the neighbors hearing? Like, what is happening? Just really tune in, ladies, to what's happening where you're like, I don't like this. Start identifying the things you don't like, and just be with your own body. Just talk to your own body and find out, because you got to be in your body to know. You can't just be in your head. Get in your body and just ask your body, what is happening that my body doesn't like, and communicate that to your partner. That's super important, to be like embodied. Embodied is like, okay, what's going on in my body? I don't like this. I don't like this. And there are a lot of things we don't like. I don't always like to get up early. I don't always, like to deal with people. People can be difficult. But when it comes to sex, we should like everything. I really believe that when it comes to sexual touch and how we're touched by other people, everything should feel good, or else should just not allow it. And I think a lot of women allow things that don't feel good, and then they don't want sex. Because if ultimately it starts feeling good, then they're going to want it. So why don't they want it? Is it something that the guy is doing that doesn't feel good? And like I said, there's so many things the guys can do that are just bad. Is it some kind of sexual trauma, some religious shaming? Is she secretly gay? You know, I would want to talk to the woman, and I never get to talk to women, even from my coaching calls. It's always men who call me. It's men who want to talk to me. I hear from the men. And that's why I wrote my book, The Fuck List, for women. But women don't talk to me about sex. Women either love sex or they don't want anything to do with it. And I don't really know why they don't like it. I would love to hear from some women. I would like to know why you don't like it. I would like to know. I really, really would. Because I can tell you what I think. I can tell you from myself. That's what I make these videos about. Too quick, too gropey, you don't know what you're doing. But I think sometimes women don't tune into their bodies, so they don't know what they don't like. They just think that the man should be the authority in the bedroom, or at least I used to think that. I should like what the guy likes. I should speed my arousal up to match his pace. But a man's sexuality is very primitive, you ladies. I don't mean to disparage the men. I love men. I love their hard cocks and everything. But their sexuality is often very primitive. They'll send dick pics. They just rub it in anything and they just spill all over the place. Like, it's very primitive. It's very easy to make a man come. He doesn't need much. Just a picture, some porn, something to rub in, and he's done. And then he's just on his way. I'm really degrading it here. A lot of men are a lot more complicated. They want an emotional connection. They care about the pleasure of the woman. But I'm saying physically, men are very simple. A woman is much more complicated, and a man really has to attune his sexual experience with a woman to what the woman likes. If that's too much trouble, they should just go gay or get a pussy pocket. That's what I always say. If you think all the stuff with women is too much trouble, don't have sex with women. Get a pussy pocket. They sell them online. I've used one before in my Just for Fans, just for fun. Like, I put my strap on in there and was like doing the thing. I mean, they're kind of cool. Just masturbate in a pussy pocket. Or get one of those dolls. They say these dolls now. And you can select the features and everything. They're life-size dolls, and you got to clean out your cum out of the doll after cavities, you know. Or you can go gay, because a lot of men do want an emotional connection, but some guys will just, you know, suck you off through a hole in the wall. So if you think women are too much trouble, don't be with the woman. I gave you 3 options: a pussy pocket, a fuck doll, or a go gay. Okay? But if you want to be with a woman, you got to just have a little bit more finesse to get the woman to want you. Okay? That's it. And that's where your energy and the connection, we're a lot more sensitive to your energy. And I think that's why women are the ones that file 80% of the time for divorce. Just recently, I was on some coaching calls with some men where the woman filed for divorce, but these men had been married for over 20 years and they were very unhappily married. So I asked both of them, like, why didn't you file for divorce? You were miserable in your marriage. And they're like, well, I didn't see a need to change anything. And these are people in their 60s. 50s, 60s, and 70s that I'm talking about, where the women are still choosing to get divorced. And the guy was like, well, I was unhappy, but I didn't see a need to change anything. That's the difference. We're more attuned. We're like, this isn't working. We're not happy together. Let's just end this charade. And sexually too, like, we're just more attuned, okay? We're just more attuned. So you got to rise to a higher level to be with us. So, and hopefully these women will also treat you well. They should definitely treat you well. So anyway, I hope this video was helpful. If this person who left the comment is listening to my video, I don't mean, hopefully I wasn't out of line. But I think that, as he said, men are transactional in how we approach life. And you can't be transactional with the woman. The transaction should just be, I'm going to enjoy you in this moment and be open to where it leads. That's your transaction. I'm going to be present with my woman, and be open to where it leads without needing an outcome. That's my advice for you, because you want to know how to do it. This is how you do it. The outcome is the connection. The outcome is your pleasure in this moment. You can't try to get somewhere. Okay? That's my advice. That's my advice. Anyway, thanks for watching my video.